Yes, well, I want to start by talking a little bit about why using a spiral of inquiry is so useful for schools. It's based on some research that I started or published in about 2008, so it was quite a while ago. And it was looking at what kind of a teacher professional learning and development actually has an impact on students. And what we found for those studies that did have an impact, they all took an inquiry approach. And then I combined my work with Linda Kaiser and Judy Halbert in British Columbia, because they were looking at the same things, and we came up with the spiral of inquiry. And since then, quite honestly, it's gone viral. We're quite surprised, because we thought in our Canada, where they are, and New Zealand, where I am, that would be it. But now there's groups in many different countries focusing on the spiral. We developed these phases for the spiral, but I wanted to say at the outset, they kind of all interact with one another, and it's not like doing scanning, doing focusing, it's backwards and forwards, because it is an inquiry process. And inquiry is never a nice, neat, linear process. And it's really important that the teachers and the leaders involved begin with a curiosity about what is going on for our learners. Now, usually people they have a general idea of the areas that they'd like to focus on. They looked at their big data sets, NatPlan, the school data sets, and think maybe in primary school it might be maths or reading. At secondary it might be a literacy related or a subject related, a department related focus. And so having that kind of vague idea is then about going and getting some more information and evidence of what's really happening for learners in those areas. Usually it's an area that's not working so well for learners, because we want to improve, and it is an improvement tool, very much so. It's a change management tool or process. So go from that maybe the primary school has chosen literacy. Well, what is it about literacy? What do we need to find out? Is it reading? Is it writing? Is it actually those are too big too. In that focusing phase, you need to get more and more focused. But first of all, we need to find out what's going on for our learners from their perspective. And I found the greatest catalyst for change for teachers is when they really start asking their learners, well, what's happening for you in reading? Do you find it motivating? Do you find it boring? And then the focus gets more and more focused as it goes through. So those first two phases, they go backwards and forwards. They're focused on the students, so what's happening for our learners. Then the developing a hunch phase shifts the focus from the learners to the adults, to the teachers, the leaders, the parents, the community if necessary, to all contribute to say, well, how are we contributing? What is it that we need to understand in order to change, to make a difference to the focus area? And that's often misunderstood, that phase, but it's remembering to keep it on the adults. How are we contributing? And then it moves into a learning phase. Now, most professional development starts at the learning phase without those first three phases. And then we wonder why teachers often don't buy into it. They haven't actually understood. Someone else has made the decision about what they should learn. Oh, formative assessment is really good, so we'll all go to a workshop on formative assessment. Without, well, what's the problem that formative assessment is supposed to solve? Is it student engagement? If it is, then yes, it may be very much in student agency to use formative assessment. But teachers, if they start there rather than right at the scanning phase, it's just something to do rather than purposes to make a difference for our learners. And then, so these three phases set up the why do we want to do this? Why is this important for us all to engage in this learning? And then the taking action phase. Well, obviously, if nothing changes in the classrooms or the school, then nothing's going to change for students. But at a deeper level, this learning and taking action phase actually go together. Teachers might learn something outside of the classroom, but the biggest learning, the deep learning, happens while they are trying to do it in practice. And so they need to have opportunities to go backwards and forwards from a chance to learn outside of the teaching and learning environment, and then taking that learning into the teaching and learning environment and learning through practice, because teaching is practice. It's not about talking all the time, it's about doing it. So those two phases go together. And then the checking phase is about, well, have we made enough of a difference? And that word enough is really important. We put it in there very deliberately. All teachers make a difference in teaching and learning activities. But if you're going to put all this effort into inquiring, then you're wanting to make more of a difference in business as usual. So deciding whether you're making enough of a difference is really important. And of course, then we put that loop in the middle, give everyone a bit of a chance to think and pause. And do we need to go deeper on the same focus? Have we made enough of a difference? Or do we transfer the learning from that original inquiry into our new inquiry if we have made a real difference?